Hello guys, how are you today? I hope you guys are doing well. So today we're gonna be looking over this worksheet about transversals. And yeah, let's get started. So the first question right here asks us to give one real life example of parallel lines being cut by one or more transversals. Use images. So I already went ahead and separated two images I found on Google, which I thought were good examples, which were this one and this one. Okay. In these cases, this is the parallel lines. In this one, it may not seem because they're strange, but it's because of the perspective of the photo. And these are the transversals that are cutting the parallel lines. Okay. In this example, we have a lot of transversals. And in the second one, it's already drawn, but I'm gonna draw over it so you guys can understand. These are the parallel lines. We have three parallel lines in this example being cut by this transversal. Okay. So this question is basically asking us to find pairs of different angles using only this image. So let's go. A pair of vertical angles. Vertical angles right here could be angle 1 or angle 3 or angle 2 and angle 4 or angle 5 and angle 7 or angle 6 and angle 8. But I'm gonna go ahead and only write angle 1 and angle because we only need to find one pair, okay? Only a pair. A pair of alternate interior angles, okay? Could be angle 4 and angle 6. These two right here. Let me go ahead and write down angle 4 and angle 6. A pair of corresponding angles. It could be angle 6 and angle 2. Okay, angle 2 and angle 6. Here's corresponding. A pair of consecutive interior angles. So consecutive interior angles is basically the same as saying same side interior. Okay, so this one could be angle 3 and angle 6. 3 and angle 6. The next one, let's go ahead. A pair of alternate exterior angles. It could be angle 1 and angle 7. These two, angle 1 and angle 7, right here. And finally, a linear pair. I'm just gonna go right ahead and choose angle 8 and angle 7. For linear pair, angle 8 and angle 7. Okay, this is the second question. And question 3. Given that lines M and M are parallel, describe two different ways you can find the measure of angle 7. You do not need to find its measure, thus describe two ways of finding it. So to make it easier for us, I'm gonna turn the image, okay? So if this angle is 114, then angle 7, okay, this angle right here we want to discover, they are corresponding, okay, which is congruent. So in this case, angle 7 will be equal to this measure because they are congruent, okay, they are corresponding, so they are congruent. And the second way of discovering it is that this angle right here is vertical to this angle, angle 1. So angle 1 is the same as 114. And angle 1 and angle 7, they are alternate exterior. So angle 7 is also equal to 114, okay, because alternate exterior are congruent, so they're meaning that they have the same value. So off to question 4. These questions will be a little bit more complex and difficult, but it's gonna be worth it, okay? So given that the lines are parallel and cut by transversals, find the value of x and or y. State the angles relationships and their properties to explain your reasoning. So our first one is this one. We want to start naming each one of the angles. This one I'm gonna call angle 1 and this one will be angle 2. These two are corresponding, so they are congruent, they're the same. And when two angles are the same, we may in the equation they will also be the same, right? So angle 1 is equal to angle 2, which is x plus 77. So the next thing to do is just to solve the equation. We're going to isolate the x, right? So this will result in x plus 17 is equal to 77, right? Because we took the x out and left us with 1x. Then we want to isolate the x completely, very completely. So we want to take this 17 out. We're going to make like this. Okay? And we will be left with this. Okay? So we just discovered the value of x in the first one. So question 4b. We're gonna start doing the same as we did in the other one. We're gonna start naming each one of the angles. Okay, so angle 1, angle 2, this one. The only difference is that this one, both of these angles, they have a supplementary relationship because they are same side interior. So the equation is gonna change a bit. We're gonna write first the first equation plus the second equation is equal to 180 because their relationship is supplementary. So we're gonna just resolve the equation normally. We're gonna start getting, okay, so 8x because 5 plus 3 is 8 plus 37 plus 71 is equal to 108 is equal to 180. Okay, so far so good. Next thing we want to do here is to take this off because we want to isolate the variable. Then just do it there. Okay, we want to isolate completely the variable. So what we do here is just to take this off. And then we're gonna be left with this. What we do here? Then we just need to divide 72 by 8, which is equal to 9. Then so the final result will be x is equal to 9. Question 4c. We're gonna start doing the same thing as we did before, naming the angles, angle 1 and angle 2. And as you can see, these two are congruent because they are alternate exterior, so they have the same value, which is the meaning of congruent. So we're gonna just write both of the equations right here. They are equal because they are congruent, again, just for the people who don't understand. And as you can see, this variable right here is a fraction, so we're gonna have to make all of the others a fraction as well. But if you don't know, every whole number at least is a fraction with the denominator of 1, so we only have to multiply them, which means that we're gonna do this right here. x4 84 equal to x4 minus 64. Okay, so we're gonna multiply all the numbers now. 80 times 4 is equal to 320. Okay, and it's positive, so we make sure to put positive here. 2 times 4 is equal to 8, obviously, so we're gonna put 8x minus 60 times 4, which is equal to 240. And because all of them have the same denominator, now we can just delete this from here. Now what we want to do is to add both of these, so it's what we're gonna do, and make like this plus negative plus 140, which is gonna give us an equation like this. And then our final step, it's not the final step, but we are almost there. I'm getting anxious. We need to isolate the variable, so we wanna make sure that it's nice and isolated. So minus x on both sides, and then our equation will be like this. Now the final step, now it's the time. We just have to divide 560 by 7x, which is equal to 80. And that's our final number, our final answer. Okay, so question 4D. Here we see that we have two fractions, so the process of resolving this equation will be a little bit different, but it's pretty easy anyway. We see that they are congruent because this angle and this angle, that I'm gonna call this angle angle 1 and this angle 2, they are congruent because they are corresponding angles. So let's get started. We are just gonna pass the equation here, and they're equal to each other, so that's our equation. Okay? And you see that these two, they are variables divided. You see they are fractions, so our process right here is gonna be a little bit different. When this happens, what we need to do is to find the least common multiple between this number and this number, which in this case is 10, right? So x time, we're gonna put 10 here. 8 times 10 equals x 10 plus 20 10. We multiplied 5 by 2 to become 10 and 2 by 5. So our variables are gonna change a little bit. So since we multiplied 2 by 5, it's gonna become 5x plus 8 times 10, 80, equal to 2 times 5 will become 10, so we're gonna put 2x plus 10 times 20, 200. Okay, pretty simple, easy stuff right here. Okay, then all we gotta do is just resolve the equation. Pretty simple. We wanna isolate the variables. So all we do is minus 2x, which is going to result into 3x plus 80 equals 100. And then to isolate the variable completely, we just need to take this 80 out. Okay, minus 80, which is gonna give exactly this, 120, right? And then our last step, very easy. All we have to do is divide 120 by 3, which is 40. X is equal to 40 right here. Okay, pretty simple. Question 4e. So you can see that this transversal is a little bit strange, but what we do in this type of question is that we just we just create this line right here, and then we just need to resolve the whole thing. So let's start naming each one of the angles. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, and this will be angle 5. And then let's resolve. We see that angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical, so y will be equal to 40 because vertical angles are congruent. We see that angle 2 and angle 3, they are alternate interior, you see. So angle 3 will be equal to 40. And as you can see here, let me take this out. You see that the whole thing, the whole angle right here is equal to 85. And since we already have 40 here, then we just need the 45 to complete. And then we see that angle 4 and angle 5, they are corresponding, meaning that they are congruent. So x has to be 45. Pretty simple, right? It may scare you a bit at first, but it's pretty simple as well. Question 4f. So in this one, this one is gonna be a little bit more complex. So when I'm doing the calculations, I will actually speed up the video so you guys don't have to lose that much time. And yeah, so we can read right here: round x and y values to the nearest tenth. See, so it's gonna be probably a little bit more longer, but it's gonna still be very simple. Let's start naming each one of the angles we see so we can organize ourselves. And we see here, like, very obviously that angle 1 and angle 2, they are supplementary because they are same side interior, see? And when this happens, all we gotta do is say that one of the angles plus the other one will be equal to 180. So the first one, angle 2, plus angle 1, which is 3y negative 14, is equal to 180. And then we just need to start, doing the calculations and stuff. I'm actually going to do this like drawing instead of typing because it's gonna be faster and it's gonna be easier to understand, I think. But the other ones I'm gonna type, so it's just so I don't lose time. Then all we gotta do is divide 186 because we have this 6 right here by 7, and I'm gonna do this calculation right over here so we keep organized, so we keep the organization. So after doing the calculations, we discovered that y is equal to 26.67, and since we need to round to the nearest tenth, we will uh, we will round it to 26.6 because 7 is bigger than 5, so it's gonna round to the other house right here. So 26.6. So we already know that y is equal to 26.6, but we still don't know what's the value of x. So we're gonna do that now. We can see that this angle right here, which we're gonna call angle 1, and this angle right here, which we're gonna call angle 2, they're vertical to each other, so they're congruent, they have the same value. And what we do here is that we just create another equation. Yeah, it's all about equations. And since we know the value of y right here, we just gotta multiply 4 times 26.6. The next step. Which is gonna, so 4 times y is gonna give us 106.4. Then all we gotta do is divide 105.4 by 3. And I'm gonna do this right over here. So the results we got was that the x is equal to 35.1 and 3 infinite. But since we have to round x also to the nearest tenth, it's just 35.1. And as we saw before, y is 26.6, and we just discovered that x is 35.1. Very easy, right? Question 4G. So this one may seem a little bit complicated, but it's just a little bit long. It's not that complex. So as you can notice, this angle right here, which we're gonna call angle 1, and this angle right here, which we're gonna call angle 2, they have the same variable, see, which is x. So we're gonna use both of them to discover their value, both of these angles. And what we're gonna, and since they are congruent because they are alternate exterior, they're gonna be equal to each other. And then it's just a matter of resolving and solving the equation. And then it's just a matter of dividing 75 by 15, which is equal to 5. So we just discovered the first variable of this question. Let's move on to the second variable, which is y. So we know that x is equal to 5. Let's put it right here. But we don't know what's the value of y, so let's discover that. So we already know the value of x, which is 5, but we still don't know the value of y, so we're gonna discover that right now. You can see that this angle, which we're gonna call angle 1, since we already finished these two angles, and this angle, angle 2, they have a supplementary relationship because they are inside interior. So essentially all we've gotta do here is so do the equation and then resolving it and then solving it. So all I gotta do here is solve now. And then it's just dividing 160 by 8, which is also very simple. You can do it by head. Okay, so we just discovered that y is equal to 20, and as we already knew before, x is equal to 5. For h, so you can see that this one is a little strange as well, but it's gonna be turn out to be very simple. So you can see that this angle, which I'm gonna call angle 1, and this angle, which I'm gonna call angle 2, they're supplementary, right? But if we do that both of them add and then go to result in 180, it wouldn't work to do the equation because both of them are different variables. So in this case right here, what we do is that we're gonna create a new angle right here, and you can see that this angle, which I'm gonna call angle 3, it's corresponding to this angle right here, which I'm gonna call angle 4. So they have the same value, right? And if this one has a value of 6x, then this one is also 6x. Let me write here so you guys can see better. 6x, right? So if 6x plus 3x is equal to 180, then we just need to solve the equation. This equation is solvable. Then we just need to divide 180 by 9, which is very simple. X is equal to 20. Very, very simple.